Now this is called a deflection tactic. So when I push my pawn, right, I give her a check, and when she takes, now her king is far away so that I can push my h-pawn, and she's not in time. Hello and welcome back to the Chess Mindset. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to win against a 1600 Elo bot. And the bot I'm going to be playing today is Isabel from chess.com, who's rated 1600. And I'm going to be playing one game with white and one game with black. And I'm going to be explaining basically my thought process and how I will go about winning this game. So I'm going to start with the London system. And basically the idea of the London system is to play d4, bring my dark squared bishop out early, and then lock it in with the c and e pawns. So I create this sort of pyramid, and then I can bring my light squared bishop out and basically have a very nice spot for my bishops. Okay, so we can just finish our pyramid with e3 and c3. Okay, c5, so just play c3. Now if they take, then we can take with the e pawn, but they push, so we can just play. So now we can't play bishop here because the pawn's going to take, right? So I'll just develop my other knight, and then probably go bishop e2 and then castle like this. Or I can just play knight here first, so in case they play queen to b6, I can play like here, or maybe even rook b1. Okay, so this kind of stops my rook b1 idea, but now we can just continue with our plan of bringing our bishop out and then castling. Okay, so he is attacking our, or she is attacking our b2 pawn. Now, of course we can't go rook b1 because the bishop's watching that square, so we kind of have to just go queen c1 to watch out for this square. Okay, so we're getting aggressive h5. Now I could play h4 to sort of prevent her from, you know, playing h4. I can also go h3 to prevent the knight and bishop from coming here. So I think that's actually a better move. Although I gotta be careful because maybe she has this move in the future. Okay, bishop comes here. Now I could just take and then pawn takes, and maybe even e4 after that. Maybe I can castle first actually. Okay, so I'll take, and after takes I'll just castle. And it seems like we're in a pretty good spot here. Knight here, we just take. So yeah. Now this pawn is kind of a weakness, so maybe I can first bring my rook here. Or actually I'll go knight here to try and go for this pawn. If she takes, I can just take with the bishop. So knight here, if she takes, I'll just take with the bishop. And let's see what she does. Okay, so brings in the knight here. Now I'm guessing she wants to take the knight. So if I take the knight, she takes with the d pawn. She's got this very solid pawn structure with the d and e pawns coming, so I'm not sure I like that. However, I could play f3 to sort of undermine that structure. So I'll basically show you what that looks like. So takes, and I'll just play f3 to sort of undermine the structure. Okay, so she attacks my bishop, so of course I'm going to drop it back, probably to h2 where it's nice and cozy. Okay, so she doesn't protect this pawn, so I could just take and open up my rook, open up the f file, which is what I'm gonna do. Okay, now queen there, she wants to take my pawn, right? So always look out for any threats, like what is this queen actually attacking? Well, the only real threat is this pawn, right? So, how can we defend this pawn? So I could go rook here, but then she'll go g5, hitting my rook. And I don't think I have a good square for my rook at that point. So that's probably not an option. Now what about pushing the pawn? Well, she's take, takes, and then I take, and then she takes, and I lose. Actually, no, she can't take. So I think this is a good move. Push the pawn. If she takes, I can take with the bishop as well. So I think this is a good move. Okay, so bishop here, trying to target this. Now, it is protected right now, so I don't think I have to do anything. Now I can go queen here to try and hit the pawn, and I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yep, so you can see how before, remember how she had the 2 pawns here, right? So all the way back here, when I made this knight trade, right, I anticipated, well, obviously not anticipated, but I knew there were going to be 2 pawns here. But then, that's why I played f3, to sort of undermine the structure, so that when I take the pawn, this pawn now becomes a weakness, which I can target with the queen. And you can see a few moves later, that's exactly what I did, right? So a common skill that you need to know is, you need to sort of like know how to exploit their structure, specifically their pawn structure, to undermine their weak pawns. So basically, I've created this sort of weakness that now I can just take. Okay, now I'm actually threatening to take this pawn as well, which is undefended. But before I take the pawn, always think about what can my opponent do, right? If I just take the pawn, okay, they're gonna play rook g8, which attacks my queen. Now, is that a big threat or not really? I mean, it's not really that big of a threat because I can just move the queen back. So in this case, I think it's fine to take the pawn. So I'm just gonna take. Oh, but I almost forgot, right? The vision of the queen, right? The vision of the queen, it's protecting this pawn. So if I move the queen, the bishop is gonna take. Okay, so, and that's gonna come with check. So after I move my king, then it's a bit unclear. So I think I want to play rook ae1 first to protect this pawn. Okay, so now she pushes the pawn. Now what can I do here? Now you can see how I have double pawns. Now double pawns aren't good, right? So what if I put my bishop here to potentially trade and undouble my pawns? That seems like a pretty good idea. So let's try that. Okay, so she doesn't trade and she attacks my rook instead. Okay, let's think. Actually, I think a bishop is trapped because I can play g3 and she can't take. She can't take because my bishop's watching. And she can't go back because my bishop will take. And she can't go here either because my pawn will take. So if I go g3, probably she'll play g5 to counter attack my bishop. In which case I can still take the bishop and then take back. So I think that's a good move. Yeah, that's exactly what I anticipated. Now, so if I take the bishop, she's going to take my bishop, and then I'll take back with the e-pawn, and then I've undoubled my pawns basically. So I think that's a good idea. Now after I take, this file is actually open, so my kings might be a little bit vulnerable, maybe to some checks, but I can just move my king out of the way, and I think I'm fine. I always have rook g1. Yeah, I think I can just go rook g1 and I'm fine, because I'm covering the entire diagonal. So yeah, I should be fine. So she's attacking this pawn again. This pawn's protected, so really only this pawn is under attack. And actually I have to note that if she takes, this will come with check as well, so that's not good. So I'll probably have to defend this pawn with maybe queen c2. Now I could also push with b3, but if I do that, I also weaken c3, right? Because remember, if I push a pawn, the square that it's originally defending gets weakened. So if I push the pawn, then c3 gets weakened because there's no pawn protecting it anymore. So that is the trade back that I have to make. Now, am I willing to do that? Probably yes, because I don't really want to go queen there. That seems a little bit too passive, because then I can't move my queen, or else our opponent's queen will just take. So I kind of want to keep my queen sort of active. Okay, so she goes here. Now, this move attacks this pawn and this pawn. Well, currently this pawn is protected, but she attacks this pawn. So this might be a little bit hard to defend. Now I could go here. If I go rook a1, then maybe she'll take my rook, and I can't take with the rook because then my pawn will fall. So I kind of have to take with the king. So I think that's still fine. I think it's still fine. I can go here. Okay, now she's putting a lot of pressure on this pawn, and I do not really like it that much. Now I could just take and divert her rook back to this square to sort of alleviate the pressure, and then I can take this pawn. So I think that's a good... Oh, but then she'll take this pawn. Let's see. I think I'm gonna go for it. Or maybe I could go rook here to try and take the pawns, and maybe I'm still holding on to this, or maybe not really, because right now this pawn is very weak, and if I go rook here, I just have a very passive position, and I don't really like it too much, so I'm going to take the rook. And after rook takes, I will probably take this pawn. I'll probably... Okay, so if I take that pawn, she'll take my pawn here, and then I'm vulnerable to all sorts of checks, like here, which forks my king and rook, so I lose my rook. So it is a little bit dangerous, so I don't actually think I should do that. I could just go queen here, which protects everything, and now I can move my rook anywhere, so I think that's a good move. Okay, so queen here, she wants to come into my position, but right now everything is guarded, so I shouldn't have to worry about it. Now, I could try to offer a queen trade, probably with something like rook here and then queen here, to try and offer the queen trade, because I think in the end game I will be winning since I am up in material. Okay, so she's threatening this, so I think just queen here covers everything. Yeah, I think queen here just covers everything. So I'll go queen here, covers all of these squares. Okay, yeah. So now, if I offer a trade, I mean, if I go there, if I go rook g1, she probably has to take, because, like, if she moves her queen, I will take her rook, which I will get a trade either way. So yeah, I think this is good. Yeah, now I'll just play queen here to force her to make a decision, and probably just go queen g6 to try and take the pawns. Okay, so she is still trying to target this pawn, which is a little bit dangerous, I'm not gonna lie. But after I take h5 and she takes c3, I think I could just give her a check. I give her a check on e8 and then pick up this pawn. So I think this is good. Okay, so now I can give her a check here, and then pick up this pawn. And give her a check again. And, oh, okay, I kind of want to get my queen here, and then sort of like win her queen, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Well, she is a 1600 after all, so I don't think she will hang stuff like that. Okay, what do I do here? This queen is a little bit dangerous because my king is kind of cut off from these two squares, so I can't actually escape upwards. So this is a little bit. Now I can give her a check here. I think that's good. Okay, and then maybe here, check here, check here. And now, oh, okay, this is good. Now I can give her a check here and I win the game. Because now she has to take. And then I take, and then I can just push my pawn and I win the game. So the easiest way to do this, probably just do this. Now this is called a deflection tactic. So when I push my pawn, right, I give her a check. And when she takes, now her king is far away so that I can push my h-pawn. And she's not in time. So that's called a deflection tactic, and I basically lure the king to a square so that I can, you know, promote my pawns. So now I can just promote, and it's easy. Okay, just check. And check. Check. And that's checkmate. Nice. So that was how to beat Isabel, which is who's rated 1600 with the white pieces. Now let's go with the black pieces now versus Isabel. Actually, I'll do that in another video. So if you guys want to watch me play against Isabel in another video, but as black, please leave a comment down below and let me know if you want to see that video. Otherwise, I've made a chess community that chess players can, you know, like hang out and also get tips from me. It's basically like a private community where I have members joining and we can like talk about chess and maybe like improve. If you're interested in that, that's in the first link in my bio, so you can check out my bio for that community link. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.